Hello everyone, you're welcome to this video where I plan to talk to us about some other techniques that we have when we focus on handling numbers in Python. This may be a little bit mathematical, but try to have an open mind, just like I said before. I am not a mathematician, and I feel if I could learn this, then you can as well do it. I believe you are much smarter than I am. So let's go into this one after the other. I'll start from the cheapest in this series, uh, logarithm of a number. Yeah, let's say you have a number that has been given to you, 20, for instance. In secondary school, we used to have the log table. And if you are told to look at your log table and give us the log of 20, we had a manual way of tracing numbers in that, book that we had then. But these days, you have a very giant calculator in front of you that you can use. So you come in here and say math.log10 of which number. Our number is the variable there. If I recall correctly, this used to be 1.3010, something like that. Yeah, correct. So it gives you the correct log to the base of 10 of number 20. So you can change the number to anything. This code will always give you the result. If you flip to the log, which doesn't have anything, yeah, there are two ways in which you can use this. I can actually come in and say, give me math.log. I'll give you the explanation. This is expecting two variables. If I say log of 20 and I don't put anything else, it will give me the natural log of 20, what they used to call ln 20 in maths in those days, for those who still remember this. Let's clear this results output and say run this code. You can see it is no longer 1.3010, it's now 2.9957 because I only said give me the natural log of 20. But if I was interested in if I was interested in log of any number and I know the base, I could have come in here and say, okay, give me log 20 to the base of 10. If I run this, I'll get what we had before. If I say give me log 20 to base 4, the result is going to be different. So you can play around with the number and the base. But if you do not indicate the base and you only put in the number as we did here, then Python is going to calculate the natural log of the number that you are given. And that's so powerful. You can just do a refresher on your maths and you'll be fine, with that. Yeah, so I move on to something simpler also. Let's say you have two numbers like this given to you, 12 and 15. It could be any other set of numbers given to you. And you are told to go around and give us the least common multiple of both. Of course, your kids will be so good at this, they can find the LCM easily. You as an adult might have forgotten. So find out from them. So if you run this, you will get 0 for now. But the easiest way to do it in Python is just to say, come in and give me the LCM of those numbers. And it will give me the result. I cannot do that. It says this is incorrect. So what do you want? You want me to pass 12. You want me to pass this into it. And if I run this, it gives me the result as 60. So it tells you in a way, oh, I'm not going to work on a list. Rather, you should give me the specific numbers and then I'll process them for you. So ideally, this should go off. We learned something new from there. So if you find the LCM of these two numbers, it tells you this is the least common multiple of these two numbers. If you go to GCD, it does something completely different. This is getting you the greatest common divisor of the two numbers. What is the greatest common divisor here? You look at it, this is 12, this is 15. What do you think the result is going to be? Yeah, I know. Most likely 3. 3 will go here. 3 will also go here. 4 goes here. 4 doesn't go here. 2 goes here. 2 doesn't go here. So 3 is going to be what you have. So to do GCD here, you probably have to come around and say math dot GCD, and then you supply. If you supply X from what we saw in the previous demo, you realize that this is going to yell at us and say, no, I don't want lists. I want integer. And in that case, you knock this part of the code off, and then you bring 12 and 15 down here. And if you run your code again, you get your result of 3. So mathematician, you do not need to be a first degree holder in this to be able to figure this out. And then internet is there. You can search on the internet and then you see how some of these things can be done. Once you figure out the logic, then it becomes an extra, knowledge element to you. So I go up the ladder again and I talk about exponentiation. What is this about? In maths, back in the days, we used to have a symbol called E. And when we got into further maths parts, we started learning things like E raised to power something. Of course, we were quite young and our mind could embrace those new ideas. We could do it almost flawlessly. E has a value of 2.71828 in math. But if you want to do E raised to power something, you don't want to start racking your brain getting the figure correctly, especially when you don't have your calculator beside you. So there is a way you can tell Python to help you out. So if you say math.exp, it will ask you for the number. So it's asking, where is the number that you want? I say my number is X because I've stored 4 in X. If I run this, it will do this 2.71828 raised to power 4, and the result is 54.59. We can verify using a standard approach. It will be exactly the same thing. We can just come in here and say we want to verify this as 2.71828 raised to power 4 as our verification. Run the code, you get pretty much the same set of numbers. So that's a way of saying this method works. Now, the next demo I'm going to give is on this pure maths method called factorial notation. For those who have forgotten what their factorial notation is all about, it's a concept in maths where they will say x, where is the symbol? Yeah, this is the symbol for factorial notation in maths. And what they mean is if you are told to write 5 factorial, for instance, in maths, it meant 5, which is that number, multiplied by the next number after it, lower than it, multiply by the next number after that, lower than it, multiply by 2, which is the next number after 3, multiply by the last number, which is 1. And this will be your 5 factorial. If they ask you for 6 factorial, you start from 6 and then you multiply in that sequence downward. So this, we memorized it back in the days. It should be something like this. Am I right? No. Let's check. So if I want to demonstrate this, I'll come back in here and say, give me math dot factorial, and I want x. I know the result should be 120 for 5 factorial if I recall correctly. So let's put 5 in here just to verify that claim of mine. If I run this, yeah, I get 120 as 5 factorial because that would be 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That's 5 times 24. It will give you 120. If we had used the previous one that was there, which was 4, the result will have been 24. So this is the way you can implement that factorial notation concept in Python. Now, having learned this, how do you normally use factorial notation in maths? you will hear about the concept of combination and permutation. Let's start with permutation here. I'll go back to my factorial notation. So if they gave you n permutation r, for those who still remember their maths, it will be n factorial divided by n minus r factorial. But I don't have to remember this because Python will do that for me automatically. If I were to be doing combination, not permutation, permutation is dealing with, let me see, if I want to do this, it will be r factorial multiplied by the difference of n and r factorial. This is the maths. You do not need to remember this. All you need to know for now is that Python can do that for you by saying math.perm and then give me the first number, which is my n, and then the second number is my r. In this context, if I run this, I should get something quite interesting. 24. I don't need to verify because I know that's correct. If you go into combination and you do math.comb, that's the combination of n with r. You often talk about this when you're dealing with probability theory. If I do this and I've set my values of n and r to 4 and 3, the result of this should be like 4 if I am correct. Let's run this and see what the result is. Yep, 4. So that's the way you can use combination and permutation in Python. You do not need to remember the math, even though it's good for you to refresh your memory and learn the maths. So we're done with this video. Just a quick recap. In this video, we have been able to see how you can do permutation and combination using factorial notation. We also saw how you can implement factorial notation using the math.factorial method. And then we saw how you can raise a number x, a number e, which is 2.71828 to any number using this method. We saw how you can do log of a number to any base, and if you don't put any base, it will give you the natural log. We saw how you can do the log of a number to base 10. You only need one input into it, and then it will find the base 10 equivalent of that number. We also talked about, greatest common divisor and then the LCM. These are extremely powerful techniques that you can add to what you already have, and your ability to maneuver numbers will keep getting better the more you practice. I think you will find this very useful. If the response is yes, then let's have your comments, click like, and subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video recording. Bye for now.